Welcome to the first of our Bible study meetings. This is a time when we can look carefully at a passage from Scripture and consider what it might teach us about life today and how it might help or encourage us. There are no right or wrong answers in a Bible study discussion. It's an opportunity for people to share thoughts, ideas and stories, and to listen and to be encouraged by one another. So please feel free to speak up and to be an encouragement to one another. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be following the story of Naomi, a woman of great faith and no little courage, whose story is found in the book of Ruth in the Old Testament. Along the way, we shall also be dipping into other parts of the Bible to see what added insight they can offer. Times of misery are inevitable in this life. Even in our society, with its advanced medical science, people still suffer and die. Sometimes death hits unexpectedly. Sometimes an illness persists for years with surgeries, treatments, symptoms, and perhaps the worst, uncertainty. Other losses can be just as devastating: unemployment, divorce, unexpected expenses, disability. The possibilities are endless. Such losses make us feel like we are wading through mud in an unknown territory and can't get our bearings. Even those who haven't experienced something that feels like a huge loss are familiar with smaller ones that can sting just as painfully when they occur. And it can feel like God is silent in these times. We may wonder how God could allow such disasters. If God is so powerful and so good, why doesn't he change our circumstances or find a way to end our suffering? It's the age-old question, isn't it? Why does a good God allow bad things to happen? The psalmist writes this in Psalm 22. "O my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I find no rest. Yet you are holy, enthroned on the praises of Israel." But the truth is that in this damaged, broken world in which we live, suffering afflicts lots of people every day. And Jesus tells us that in this world we will have trouble, but to take heart as he has overcome the world. In this study, we're going to be introduced to a woman, Naomi, who knew all about pain and suffering. She lost her husband and both of her sons. She was so distraught she tried to change her name to Bitter. But through an unexpected turn of events, Naomi found a way of dealing with her suffering without giving up her commitment to a God who was real and who was good. It took time. Things didn't get better overnight for Naomi, but she found a way forward. Naomi's story begins in the first chapter of the book of Ruth. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, and his wife's name was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there. Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. In our study today, we're going to think about 3 questions. The first helps us to consider how we lament, how we cry out in times of despair. The second question enables us to think about the help we have received from different people when we're struggling. Finally, we'll reflect on how we see God during times of difficulty. Enjoy the study.